Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Busy Money Cast, the podcast for entrepreneurs. Today, we have another great show sponsored by our man, Howard's Blend. Go ahead and try that plant-based protein. They got chocolate, vanilla, the pre-workouts coming. It's one of my favorite things to drink, so thank you again to Howard. Before we get into the show, like always, we're going to talk about the rules. There's only 3 rules. It's real simple. So the first rule, just be mindful of what you say. You say the wrong thing, you could get our whole show kicked off. Second thing, be mindful of the background noise. Again, something in the background can end live. And last thing, have fun. Because we're here to make sure that y'all are getting the information that y'all need. If y'all have questions, be ready to ask them and we'll be ready to bring you up. So today we have a great friend of mine. He's coming up in a little while. But before then, we're going to talk about today's episode. So today's episode is goals. So why goals? What we're trying to do here is we're trying to get you ready to become an entrepreneur. So I want to give you every strategy, every mindset, anything that you need to be productive when you start your journey on whatever business it is that you are pursuing. Thank you, Howard. Shout out to Howard's Blend. So last week we talked about the check-in system and accountability, and I'm going to show you why that's important here today. I also want to give everybody a shout out for checking in and staying in the gym. I'm telling you, I got in the gym. Today's Tuesday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I got in the gym only because of the motivation, because people were sending me pictures flexing, people were sending me pictures, at the gym, showing weight, showing protein. Like, I promise you, I had very long days the last few days, and I really did not want to get in the gym. And you guys really are making a difference, and hopefully we're making a difference for you. And for some people who aren't in the gym yet, hopefully these checks that you see in this accountability group will help you get in the gym as well. So with that being said, I want to talk about goals and goal setting. Successful people, entrepreneurs, business people, they all have goals. They write things down. They have plans. But sometimes when I talk to young people and new entrepreneurs, they say something as a goal, but it seems more like a wish. And I don't mean to say that to be offensive. I mean it to say that it's not structured. So today I'm going to give you a strategy. I got this from the classroom, actually. It's called the SMART goal. So if you have a goal and it doesn't have these 5 features, perhaps you want to fill that in and flesh it out, because you'll be more successful if you add these 5 features. So a goal has to be specific. You can't say, I want to make $1 million, and then that's your goal. That's not really specific, all right? It's not specific enough. But let's say your goal is to become a millionaire. Cool. Okay, so now we know you want to become a millionaire. Now you got to have the M, the measurable piece. So what are you basing that on? Why $1 million? Is it arbitrary? Is it something you need? So now when you start to understand the measurable piece, you can go back to the specific point and specificity and understand, like, maybe I'm just pulling an arbitrary number out of the air. So you might want to think about the number that you're pursuing. Is it attainable? Why $1 million? Why not 10 million? Why not 100,000? Why not 50K? Like, again, if some of you guys out there just saying, like, I want to be a millionaire, maybe you need to think about that. Like, how attainable is it? I mean, it's really not hard to become a millionaire, and I might be saying that from the wrong side of the fence, but I promise you, with good goals and good planning and good management and all these other things that I'm going to give you in season 1, you'll see that becoming a millionaire really isn't that hard. And the hardest part is getting your first million. The second million and so on are so much easier to get than the first one. Relevance. Your goal. Why is it, or how relevant is it to your day? Again, we're talking about money. We all need money. But again, maybe $1 million is not your first goal, or it shouldn't be your first benchmark, because depending on where you're starting, it's very far off. And the last piece is the T. It's time-based. So you want to become a millionaire. All right, cool. In what time? Do you want to become a millionaire today? Okay, let's say that's the case. Now, is that attainable? Are you doing something where you can become a millionaire today? How would you track that? What are you basing that on? So if you factor in these 5 letters, the SMART goal, it'll help you streamline what your goal is, and it'll help you find more success because you'll know how to go through each piece and flesh out your goal. Before we move on and we bring Coach up, I want to let you know that, like Albert, our guest last week, said, you have to chunk your goals. So again, let's stick with $1 million. Let's say your goal is $1 million, but you don't have a job right now. Well, then perhaps your first goal should be finding a revenue stream. The second thing could be setting up a budget. The third thing would be how much money could you save? How much money could you invest? Your first benchmark could be 1,000, 10,000, 20,000, and so on and so forth until you start really approaching your final goal. But within every real big goal, there are going to be benchmarks, and you just want to start checking those things off. And then before you know it, you'll reach your final end goal. I get some of this information from, this guy is a brother. We actually share the same birthday. He's a friend of mine. We've known each other for about 5 years. Since day one, we hit it off. He's a charitable brother. He's always looking to help somebody. He has a group called Brothers Helping Brothers. Charles, the Coach Wilson. And Coach is always a part of anything I'm doing. He was my crypto coach when crypto first started. He helped myself and my clients make great amounts of money. And this is somebody I'm always going to work with. And I'll let him tell more about himself. So without further ado, my man, Coach Wilson. Charles, you here? Let's go.
Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you on live.
All right. So just first of all, I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to join the group here and have this conversation with you. It's always important to show gratitude. Nobody owes you nothing. And whenever people do stuff for you, you have to appreciate it. That's first and foremost. Nobody owes you nothing. Show gratitude, And so that's the first thing that I would like to say. And I'm gonna turn it back over to you, and we can talk about goals a little bit.
All right. So the first thing I want to kind of bring it back a little bit, and then we'll fast forward. So we're gonna talk accountability. Accountability is critical when you're talking about having goals. Mm-hmm. And for those of y'all who don't know, maybe you didn't see the last show, Coach Wilson, this is the Coach Wilson, this is the gentleman that the check system started with. Because Coach had a concept, and I'll let him talk about it, about the think tank that we put together. Mm-hmm. So, Coach, why don't you tell them a little bit about that, about what we came up, or what you came up with, and how we found success with one of your strategies.
Right. So, what you said is so key. It's all about accountability, and the first person you have to be accountable to is to yourself. But we all need help, And there's a saying that if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you need a team or go together is actually the way that the saying goes. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together. And that's exactly what the check system is all about. See, when you're trying to be accountable to yourself, you ain't got to check in with nobody. You can move along the way. However, when, challenges come and you realize that, I'm accountable to the person to the left of me or accountable to the person to the right of me, then that's a whole different story. And so with the check system, the way that we started out with fitness, where we were checking each other on fitness. And so we didn't have no particular time, but the thing was, before we went to bed, we had to send a check mark, and we were truthful, we were honest. And so if you didn't handle your business, there was no check mark. And You know, it's one thing when it's just you in the mirror. It's another thing when, you know, you looking at your text messages and your partner got check marks and you don't. It'll make you get up at night and go exercise just so you can get the check. And so then we transferred that into working on some personal goals. And we came up with a mastermind where we would meet. I believe it was weekly. We would meet weekly, once a week for about an hour, and we would hold each other accountable to the goals that we set. You know, and so he would work on his goals and I would work on mine, and we're right across the table. And so we had a synergy and we had positive energy where I could feed off of his energy and he could feed off of mine. And that's another key to winning with your goals is, you know, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people, with successful people, and that's how you you know, ratchet up the steps to make sure you win.
Okay. So I'm gonna take a step back and then we're gonna go forward. If y'all think I have gems, this brother, every time I talk to Coach, he drops game on me. Every time. So I'm gonna go back. So I'm gonna share the project that I was working on. So the book Fear. Forget everything that we said. You can get that on our website, HAHOMESUS.com. Fear, when Coach and I started our mastermind, or rather Coach suggested the idea, it was just notes on the iPhone. And there was so many things that needed to get done, like the editing process, how it's going to go, you know, come to book. And my day is just as busy as Coach's. Coach has a ton of clients for different things. He's always coaching. He's always making a move. And we decided no phones. One of the rules were we can only use our phone if we were calling somebody about the project. So there was times I had to talk to the editor, or I had to talk to somebody about the pictures and the artwork. It was the only time I was allowed to use my phone. The only other time we use the phone is we set times for the protocol. And then we just didn't look at our phone and we would get lost. 45 minutes. A house could have been on fire. And if y'all know, you see my stuff, things literally were on fire, all types of tenants, all kinds of police. Yep. But it didn't matter for those 45 minutes that we were working. And then what we would do to bring it back to our conversation is when we ended our conversations, we planned for the next week.
Yep.
So the beginning was set the goals for the day. What are you going to get done? What are we going to get done? The time to work, and then a recap. That structure is the same thing as a lesson plan for the teachers who are going to watch this. It's just all I'm doing. All of this is what I was trained to do as a teacher. So I worked on Fear. Coach is working on his projects. Sometimes we went longer because we just were in the work, but it was an hour minimum. So that's accountability, and then the goals. So back to goals, Coach.
So it's one thing that I can't. I'm sorry I jumped in on you.
Okay.
It's one thing that I wanted to say as I listen to you talk. What I want to share with the audience is this: that focus is about your ability to say no. And so when Hussain described how we would block the timeout and no phones, then basically we were saying no. If you want to get something accomplished, you know, you have to say no to good ideals. See, anytime you start on something, you're going to have a lot of shiny objects that are going to pop up into your life, a lot of things that are going to come your way, but you have to get good at saying no to good ideals so that you can focus on the main ideal. And so when it comes to goals, the other thing that you want to make sure that you have intact is that you have to time block. Time blocking is huge, and that's the other thing that, you know, Hussain just described and what we would do. It was a time block. There's so much that you can accomplish in a day if you block your time. And then when you block your time, you have to be present where you are. Wherever you are, be there. Be present when you're working on your goal. So you got focus. You have say no to good ideals. You have time block, and then wherever you are, you want to totally be present in that moment. These are things that will help you in the achievement of your goals. You know, we started out with accountability. So you got 5 gems that's just been dropped on you, you know. And so those things are very key when it comes to goals. And I'll give you another one. Six, you know, six, the sixth nugget is simply this: you have to get good at putting your goals on paper. See, something happens in your mind when you think it, you see it, and you write it. And then, you know, you might not be aware, but you're also speaking it and you're also hearing it. And so you've touched your goals with the pen, you saw the goals with your eyes, you've heard the goals with your mouth, and then obviously you've spoken the goals with your mouth and you've heard it with your ears inside your head. And so it's very important that you write your goals down on paper. And lastly, as a part of that, going back to focus, when you have your goals, then you can look at the goal. And that becomes very key. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I don't have my wallet down here. I thought I had my wallet down here because I carry, you know, different goals in my wallet. And last week, I set a goal for myself. You know, I have a lot going on. I have, you know, things going on with campaign. I have things going on with clients. I have family situations that I have to deal with. And I set a goal to raise a certain amount of money in 6 days. And I only had about an hour each day to go towards that effort. But I broke the goal down, you know, which is another key. You know, break your goal down in bite-sized pieces. So I broke my goal down in bite-sized pieces. I said, I need to raise $5,000 in 5 days, 6 days. Okay, what's 6 days divided by 5,000? Roughly about 900 or $700-800 a day, right? So then every day when I sat down to work on raising this money for a campaign, that number was in my mind. And when I called people to ask for the money, then my energy was there, my mindset was there, and I was focused. And I had nobody that said no. You know, I had a few promises, but nobody that said no. And at the end of the day, I end up being about $800 short. And that's because they made promises. So they hadn't turned the money over yet, but I hit the goal. But I focused on it. I broke it down in bite sizes and I hit my numbers every day. So
Okay.
I'm gonna stop talking for a minute.
No. Listen,
and
like
turn it over.
the comment section is going crazy. So, you know, selfishly, I was like, I gotta get Coach on the show so I can just sit back and listen. Like I'm telling you, every time I hang out with Coach, I get just like so many gems, so much advice, strategies, and you know, one of the things kind of like eagles fly with eagles, birds of a feather, all of that kind of
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Like Coach can come with something and then I add my 2 cents and he'll add his 2 cents and vice versa. And that's what we do. And we build, right? We either build or destroy.
Mhm.
So Coach is there to help build. And you guys have access to Coach for free right now. So right now we have the opportunity. You can ask Coach anything you want to ask him. You can ask me anything you want to ask. You can ask Coach about crypto. You can ask Coach about coaching. You can ask him about mentorship, goal setting, whatever you want. I'm going to give y'all 30 seconds. So, and then Coach, if you have, right now, everybody, you know what I'm saying, you can send a message. Y'all want to pop up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do that whenever you're ready. And if nobody has questions, then I have another question for Coach. And while we're doing that, because we got a lot of new eyes on here, I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. You guys have no idea. I know you guys could be anywhere you want to be, and you're choosing to spend this time with us. So hopefully you get all these gems. I'm gonna give a shout out again. You got to get this protein, plant-based. You got samples. All you got to do is send me a message. You're going to send you out a sample. And I got to send out that pancake recipe. So while we're doing that, this is your opportunity. If nobody has questions, that's okay. You know what's the thing? I get 20 questions in my DMs after the show. Like, hey, could I? So it's okay if nobody wants to speak up at this moment. We're gonna get back to Coach. So Coach,
let me say something about that. TD Jakes, he did a message one time called "Bother Me," and I thought it was so key what he said. He said, you know, sometimes people meet important people and they give you their number and they say, hey, give me a call if you need anything, right? But a lot of times what people will do is they'll be like, oh no, I don't want to bother you. You know, they're having this conversation with themselves, and so they never use the number. And then, you know, TD Jake said he would see the people down the road and he'd be talking to them, and they would tell him, you know, hey, yeah, I had some hard times, you know, I really needed some help, I really need to talk to you. And he was like, I gave you my number. And they was like, but I didn't want to bother you. And so the moral of the story is, when you want to get something done, you bother people. I coach real estate agents, and one of the things that I tell them is, when you want to get in touch with somebody, bother them. Bother them. Call, you know, until you make that initial contact, you call them until you get a hold of them, because it shows that you're serious, right? And then if they don't want to talk to you, they're going to tell you, hey, don't call me no more. And now you got that settled. And that's a clue. You like them, you like people to say that.
All right. So we got a couple questions. And if people ask questions, I don't have nothing to say. See, I make my day real easy. All right. So we got one right here.
Okay.
So Coach, just in general, what's your take on the crypto market?
Okay. So the crypto market moves in cycles. And obviously, if you've been paying attention, it's a down cycle right now. What I would highly suggest that you do right now is to get educated on the crypto market, because it's all about understanding. You know, you can't take advantage of what you don't understand. And so now is the perfect time to get educated. Cycle's going to come back around again, and it's going to go up again. And those that prepare, it's going to make a lot of money. So that's my take on the crypto market right now.
Okay. Let's see what else we got.
One last thing. If you would like to get some training and education on it, I actually have a program that will bring you up to speed, and you can get with Hussain, or you can just at Coach Wilson, at the Coach Wilson on most social media sites. Send me a DM and I'll send you some info to get you straight.
Yeah, so every one of Coach's social media links and whatnot will be in the description of this video. They might already be up if I actually put them up. If not, they'll be up for sure by tomorrow morning. So you could definitely reach Coach directly. I'll tag him on social media, so it won't be hard to find Coach. So, Coach, I got two more questions that just came in.
Okay.
And let's go with this one. Let's keep it crypto in there with transition.
Okay.
Shout out B. So, Coach, what do you think about XRP and XLM?
Great question. I'm probably kind of right now a little bit more partial to XRP based on the use case. And XRP, I believe, is going to do some great things as it comes to unbankable people. And so that's like one of the main things about XRP is for the unbankable. And so that's what I like it as. I'm watching it real close just to see how they complete this case that they have with the Fed. And once they totally clear that up, then I think they're going to do some great things. So
Okay, but thank you for that. So now the next question. This is just a coach question, Coach.
okay.
What's one of your favorite quotes?
Favorite quotes. All right, I'm gonna give you this one. This one come from my mama. You can't fix what you won't acknowledge. You can't fix what you won't acknowledge. And you know, if you take a look at some of the things that you've dealt with in your life and some of the challenges that you face, you know, you have to acknowledge the problem. You know, you have to really acknowledge what the problem is. And until you acknowledge the problem, then it's hard to correct it.
Okay, thank you for that. You got a shout out from Rob. He just said, Rob is a client of mine, client of Coach. He just wanted to say shout out to Coach, and he says thank you.
Thank you.
For your work and your time. Last chance. Any more questions? If y'all don't have any questions, Coach, I have a question for you. And then you guys, this is active engagement. So active engagement means anybody can weigh in on this. And as you see, the comments are coming up. So while Coach is answering, you could share, and then we'll go back and forth. We'll have about a 5 to 7 minute discussion about this one question. I just want to see your opinion, and then I'll weigh in after.
Okay.
So, Coach, do you have a 5-year plan?
I do. I have a 5-year plan that's written out, and I probably review it once a quarter. But with everything, I always backwards plan things. And so once you have the 5-year plan, it's about what steps do you need to take today that's going to get you to where you need to be 5 years down the road. And so I wouldn't say that I put as much energy per se into it. You know, I'm not dialed in on it as much because most things are processed, and it's what you focus on today that's going to take you down the road. And so once I write it and I backwards plan it, then I focus on what I need to do right now.
Okay. So backwards design is basically, just for those of you who don't know, just to reiterate, is you start with the goal first, you work your way backwards. Let's go back to $1 million. I want $1 million. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got to do to get to $1 million? Back to the SMART goal. How many years? Are you trying to do 10 years, 100K a year? You trying to do 5 years, 200K a year? Is it a 1-year goal? That's when we get to the feasibility and attainability. And then what are you going to do to get to the first thing, to the second thing, to the third thing? Now, myself personally, and look, I want y'all to weigh in. Like, do y'all have a 5-year goal? Do you not have a 5-year goal? It's okay. And this is there's no right or wrong answer with this.
Right.
But I pose this question because from my experience, most of the people that I know that talk about like 5-year plans and vision boards and so on, it's too big of a goal. It's like almost insurmountable. And the issue is that there's like a detach because it's like A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody, again, we'll say check to check, 30 years old, check to check. Well, I want to, retire from my job. Well, I want to become a millionaire. But they don't have any means to start the development of their plan. So to me, I think a 5-year plan is too big. I don't 5-year plan because so much could change within that 5 years, right? So what I do is I make a checklist, and checklists are great. Checklists are great. And I want to go back to something Coach said, because he said, let me go get my wallet. I actually have it written down. I actually need to do that, because if we go back to episode 1 with the purge, I have all my goal. I have everything written down in my phone. But the problem is, once I get to my phone for the goal, it's 10,000 distractions.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's a deterrent. So I do have my major goals. I have them set to the side. But for you guys that are setting goals and planning, you should do a checklist. I don't care how small it is. It could be something like, I want to go get a sandwich, or I want to get pizza on Friday. I don't care what it is, because there's something about the psyche that when you see that you have some things checked off, it gives you motivation.
Right.
So what I do is I make checklists, and I revamp, and I erase, and to-dos and updates and all of that. And yeah, I agree.
So
Instant gratification, just to go to the comment, instant gratification with those being raised in the social media age is something that, you and I didn't have the luxury of. Like, we wanted a paper, we had to go to the library. We had to do Dewey Decimal. We had to get the books. We couldn't just Google everything. So instant gratification, I think, is a killer for a lot of young folks.
yeah, I wanted to jump in on that because, like I said, backwards plan your goal. That's very key, because you need to put it in those bite sizes. And you summed it up greatly when you stated that it becomes too big. And so the activities that you take right now are key. And here's the thing about goals too: just because you have a goal and you put it on paper, that doesn't mean that you don't make adjustments. So that's very key. They talk about the rocket ship, and a rocket ship, when it launches, is 99% off course. But as it's moving, it's constantly making adjustments. And if you want to hit your goals, you have to be able to make adjustments. The goal is kind of the plan, the outline, but you have to make adjustments as things happen. And so, and then the last thing is about writing it down. When I can't stress enough about writing the goal down. And we're spoiled with this technology, right? We're spoiled with the technology, where we can put stuff in the phone, but it's not the same writing it in your phone as it is. I'm getting a lot of feedback. As it is writing it on a piece of paper, because again, when you write it on that paper, there's a totally different feeling. It basically takes all 5 senses when you write it with a pen and pad. And then when you carry it around with you, it subconsciously it works on your mental psyche, and a lot of things are psychological, and so carrying it around in your pocket works on you. When I set that goal for this past week to raise that money, I carried the paper around in my pocket. And so when I pulled it out, I looked at it regularly. When you want to hit a goal, you have to look at it regularly. And that's also one of the reasons why I don't put much emphasis on the 5-year, because there's things that need to get done right now. And the checklist is a great way. On my checklist, I need to raise this amount of money. How many people do I need to call to raise this amount of money? And sometimes I would get more, sometimes I would get a little less, but it was written down in bite-sized pieces so that I could focus on it and I could hit it.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, we got our whiteboard, and this tracks our progress. Every time we hit a benchmark or we hit something now, we add up here. We're trying to get to 500 subs. We're 31 away for those. So for those of you who might have 2 Gmails, 3 Gmails, have a friend, you like this show, share it out. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that sub button. You don't have to turn on the bell. Help us get to 500. The better we do, the better you do. The better the show does, the better the gifts are going to be. I promise you that. And I like giving cash prizes. I wanted to talk about one more thing, and then we can wrap it from here. So last week, and Coach, you've experienced this. You could build on this, and then we can wrap on that after you share your information. So last week, the giveaway was a hoodie. You get your size with the check on it. And then, all you had to do is just share the thing and tag us. Or just 30 seconds, you get a free hoodie. Good quality, too. I didn't get any feedback, so either people ain't like the hoodie or people maybe forgot or whatever. But that being said, there's a lot of times you have opportunities and you miss out on them. So I'm not going to miss out on this opportunity. Y'all shouldn't miss out on this opportunity. The better the show does, the more I'm going to do, the more I'm going to be here. Anybody who's interested, this ain't even competition. Literally, send us a message. Send me a DM. I'll send you out Howard's Blend Protein for free. And if anybody on here, I think pretty much everybody that I see on here has the book Fear. If it's something else, I'd be glad to give out something else. For now, it's gonna be Howard's Blend. That's our sponsor. And just don't miss out on these opportunities. Put your attention on your goals. Stay diligent. Get an accountability buddy. Use SMART goals. And thank you all for tuning in. And Coach, I'll let you end the show.
Okay.
If there's anything you wanna share.
So the first thing I'm going to share is a book. So readers are leaders, and note takers are money makers. So I hope that you've been taking notes. Anytime you get around somebody that's sharing knowledge, you want to make sure that you got a pen and a pad out and you're writing. Note takers are money makers. So here's a book I want to share. It's a little red book called It Works. It goes great with this show that you're watching. The book is less than $10. I don't get any kickbacks from it, any side things from it, but I want to help you. So grab this book. It's called It Works. Less than $10. It's a little red book. It's got 24 pages. You can literally read it in a day. I probably read it about 5 or 6 times in the last 2.5 weeks. So if your goal is to get better at achieving your goals, go grab that book and read it and put it to work. My name is Charles the Coach Wilson. You can find me on most social media platforms at The Coach Wilson. There's a lot of Coach Wilsons out there, but there's only one, The Coach Wilson. I have an organization called Brothers Helping Brothers, and our mission is for one brother to help another brother along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Coach. And look what we're going to do. I'm going to get a copy of that book. I don't have it. Since I'm already ordering my copy, I'm going to buy one of you guys a copy of the book. All you have to do is just share this video. Shout out the show. I don't care what you do. Just tag us. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever you got to do. Let's get some subs. Anybody who's interested in that, you do that, I'm buying you a copy of that book. Doesn't get easier than that. So with that being said, one more quick question. Does it matter how old you are? Nope. The only time it matters, this is how I'm going to get kicked off the air. The only time it matters if you have a 5-year plan is if a doctor tells you you don't have 5 years to live. Outside of that, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.